All right, IM1 classes. Today we're looking at solving proportions. Proportions are just when you have ratios that are equal to each other. And then ratios, just another term you might not remember. Ratios are just fractions. So all we're going to be dealing with is when we have two fractions equal to each other, and we're going to be solving for an unknown variable. So let's look at our first example. 9 over x is equal to 2 over 5. Simple steps to solve, cross multiply. So we cross multiply over the equal sign. So it's going to be 9 times 5 and then x times 2. So when you cross multiply, you're doing the top of one fraction times the bottom of the other. And then it's the top times the bottom. Actually, before I go any further, I'm going to include a line of separation in this. All right, so top times the bottom, top times the bottom. We only do this when it's two fractions equal to each other. All right, this is a special case of how we use this method to solve. Only when two fractions are equal to each other, we cross multiply. So 2 times x is equal to 9 times 5. All right, 2 times x just stays. 9 times 5 is 45. And then to solve, you divide. So this is 2 times x, the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So the 2's cancel out. And then we get x is equal to 45 divided by 2. So in delta math, when you're with your assignment, you're going to have options of how you can put this in. So 45 over 2, if it's a fraction, you can just simplify the fraction. We are lucky here. This is as simplified as it gets. All right, 45 over 2, that does not reduce. If you're not comfortable reducing fractions, you can always change that to a decimal. 45 divided by 2 is 22.5. Delta math will accept either answer for that. Either one is fine with me. All right, next example. 7 over 19 is equal to 21 over x. So I'm going to, again, cross multiply. So it's going to be 7 times x and then 21 times 19. Top times the bottom, top times the bottom. Again, this is only when fractions are equal to each other do you solve it this way. So 7 times x, 7x, and then it's 21 times 19. You can use a calculator. Delta Math does have a calculator in it, so you can use the Delta Math calculator. So you get 399. 21 times 19 is 399. 7 times x. Divide both sides by 7. You get x is equal to 399 divided by 7, that does simplify to a whole number. That comes out to 57. All right. Next problem, why don't you go ahead and pause the video, try this one on your own, and then check your answer when you're done. I am going to work through it now. So cross multiply and then divide. So cross multiply. X times 5, and then it's going to be 2 times 45. X times 5, or 5 times x, and then 2 times 45. And then you get 5x, 2 times 45 is 90. 5 times x, the opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. So to finish solving for x, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. And I'm left with x is equal to 90 divided by 5 is 18. Done. Next problem, we have a negative. So I get lots of questions with the negatives, especially when it's out in front there. When a negative is out in front, does that mean, is it the top is negative? Put in Or does that mean the bottom is negative? Or are they both negative? 3 of these are correct, 1 is incorrect. The only one that does not work for the negative is this last one here. All right, you can't have 2 negatives. A negative divided by a negative makes it a positive. So if you split up this negative into 2, you're changing it to a positive. That changes the value. So you can leave it out front if you want. I think it's better to move it either to the top or bottom to help keep track of it, especially with this problem. So you can move it to the top or you can move it to the bottom. Either one keeps the value of the fraction a negative. So what I like to do, and I'm going to rewrite the problem before I solve it, I like to move the negative to the top and just keep it with the number on the top. And then I solve this problem just like the other ones, cross multiply. So it's going to be negative 6 times 4 and then 2 times v. So 2 times v is equal to negative 6 times 4. And so the reason why I move it to 1, because it makes it a lot easier just to keep track of where it stays with the 6. So it's going to be 2v, negative 6 times 4, negative times a positive is a negative. 6 times 4 is 24. And then last step, this is 2 times v, opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So the 2's cancel out, and I get v is equal to negative 12. Done. So next one, same type of problem. We have a negative. I'm going to just rewrite it and move the negative to the top so I can keep track of that negative a little bit easier. So it's going to be x over 35 is equal to, move the negative to the top, negative 29 over 7. And then I cross multiply. I have some big numbers with this one. So x times 7 on one side, and then negative 29 times 35 on the other side. So x times 7, or 7x, is equal to negative 29. Whoa, excuse me. Negative 29 times 35. Go use the calculator for that. Negative 29 times 35 is negative 1,015. Negative 1,015 is equal to 7x. Oh, not 75, 7x. And then that's 7 times x, so opposite multiplying by 7 is dividing by 7. So 1,015 divided by 7 is negative 145. So it's negative because that's a negative up there. So negative divided by positive is a negative 145. All right, do this problem on your own. I'm going to work through it. Check your answer when you're done. You can pause the video. I'm going to work through it right now. So I'm going to do my line of separation. I'm going to rewrite the problem. I'm going to move the negative to the top so I can keep track of it easier. And then I'm going to cross multiply x times 3 and then negative 2 times 6. X times 3 is 3x, and then negative 2 times 6. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. And then divide both sides by 3. And you get x is equal to negative 4. Last set of problems. So 2 negatives. Same type of problem. We're still going to cross multiply, but this is because there's 2 negatives now. It's going to be very important to keep track of the negatives. I'm going to move, like I did on the other problems, move it to the top. So it's negative 5 over x, negative 10 over 8. And then I'm going to cross multiply. So it'll be negative 5 times 8. And then on one side, and then negative 10 times x on the other side. So negative 10 times x, negative 10x, negative 5 times 8 on the other side. Negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. Negative 10x. Divide both sides by negative 10. The opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. In this case, negative. So you get negative 10 divided by negative 10. You get x is equal to negative 40 divided by negative 10. The negatives turn into a positive, so our answer is going to be positive 10. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So 2 more problems. And again, just keep track of the negatives. So I'm going to put in my line of separation. And I'm going to rewrite it. So I'm going to move the negatives to the top. Negative 12 over 7 is equal to negative x over 21. And then cross multiply negative, so it's going to be negative 12 times 21 on one side, negative x times 7 on the other side. So here's the deal with this. Negative x times 7, I can just move the negative in front and it'll just be negative 7x. All right, between the two of them, there's only one negative, so when you multiply them together, it becomes a negative quantity. Negative 12 times 21 is 252, negative 252. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7. So negative times negative 7, divide by negative 7, eliminates, I just have x over here. A negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. And 252 divided by 7 is 36. Again, you can use a calculator when doing that. Last problem with the 2 negatives. Go ahead, work this one out on your own. Pause the video, and then check your answer after you're done. I'm going to work through it right now. So I'm going to move the negatives to the top. Then I'm going to cross multiply, so it's going to be negative x times 10 on one side, negative 2 times 6 on the other. Negative x times 10 is just negative 10x. And then negative 2 times 6 on the other side. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10. This one, you do need to, this fraction does reduce. So the negative 10 divided by negative 10 cancels out. The negative divided by negative becomes a positive. 12 divided by 10, you can divide top and bottom by 2 to reduce. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So in delta math, if you're given a fraction that reduces, you need to reduce the fraction. Or you can just do negative 12 divided by negative 10, put that in a calculator, you get 1.2. Delta math will accept your answer. All right, that is it for today. Do your assignment. It is due the day it is assigned. Make sure you get it done today. If you have any questions, make sure you email me.